Hey everybody, in this video I'm going to detail the process for taking a PDF of music and opening it up in Gimp, extracting portions of the music to turn it into a little bit more presentation friendly scores. Usually it's like 2 or 3 what are called systems, right, in the music to make it more presentable in the horizontal layout versus the portrait layout. All right, so I'm going to open up Gimp right here. So let me share my screen. As you see, I already have the document pulled up. I'm walking you through the dialogue portion of this just because it can take a little bit of getting used to as far as the way that Gimp handles PDFs. You have the ability to open your pages as layers or as images. I prefer layers, and resolution of 700 pixels per inch. I found that to be adequate for what I'm doing. Of course, if you have even higher quality scans than I have, you may need to have a higher level of resolution, but that's good enough for my purposes. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and open this. This takes a little bit of time. While that is opening up, let's go ahead and take a look at some of our other features. Let me get rid of this one right here. We're going to use Gimp in combination with a script, a bash script made by ChatGPT that then enables us to take these colors here. I want this color as my background. You could consider this my blackboard, this nice shade of blue, kind of a blue-black, and then my foreground, my chalk, if you will, is going to be this color right here. And there we go. So this has been opened up. I'm going to hide all the colors except, or sorry, hide all the layers except the very first one, and I'm going to detail this process for just one of the pages because I've already gone through and clipped out all of these images. Okay, so as you see, I have my crop tool already saved from my previous use. Now you can, if you want, you can have the hotkey, which is Shift C, and that opens it up. So let's say, for instance, I have another tool selected, and then I press Shift C. It opens up my crop tool. Okay, I crop the portion of the page that I want, and then I press enter, and that now gives me my page. Okay, I then export it, and I want to export it as a PNG, so I'm going to go to that file here, and just for the sake of this video, I'm going to overwrite the file that's there, so it's fine if I replace it. Okay, this is the export image as PNG. It takes a few seconds, as you see, and getting there, boom, good, excellent. Then you undo the crop with Control Z, and this takes the page back to its original form. Okay, then you crop the next portion, and that's the second half of the page, so to speak. Press return, and same thing. I am going to overwrite for right now. I'm going to overwrite the second slide. I export, takes me a few seconds. Bada boom, bada bing. It's exporting, and there we go. Excellent. I'm going to undo, and then I'm just going to quit Gimp because I've already done all the work already. But of course, this would take you maybe 5 minutes at that. Longer if you have greater documents, obviously. All right, so I'm going to go quit this. I don't need to save. Okay, so here's my palette again, like I was saying. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear the page, and we're going to take a look. Let's see, CD up one level, and this is the file as it, this is the directory as it would appear in the terminal. Okay, so the script it requires a terminal to operate. These are the files. We have 01 through 11. We have an output file called inverted image. I'm going to delete it for the sake of this video. And then we have inverted scores.sh. That's going to be our script. So let me go ahead and remove the inverted image directory. There we go. See, it's gone now, so we clear. All right, and I'm going to open up invert scores with InVim. It's a version of Vim. Invert scores.sh, and now here is the script to us, or for us to investigate. The first file, or the first line, obviously, is going to be it's the shebang. It's called the shebang and header, and this tells the bash shell to, or it says run this with the bash shell wherever the bash shell is. Okay. The rest of this is simply a detailing of how the file works. The file name is line 3, invertscores.sh. Here's our purpose. It recolors scanned score images into a two-tone scheme for video presentation purposes, or really whatever purpose you want. We have our background. It's this navy blue, black, and then we have this warm gray, or beige, I like to call it. Here are the reasons for why the script was made. It's to improve readability on screen. Yes and no. It's actually there to discourage screenshot as PDF copying, and it makes the use more transformative for teaching. Then we have here's the usage, the basic usage. First of all, we have to use changed plus X to add execution to the file. And then to actually run the script, you do /invertscores.sh. Here are the custom uses. You can see that we can set the background color, we can set the foreground color, and we can set the threshold with as well. Here are some various examples. We can change the fuzz percentage, we can change the out directory, we can change the extensions that the file is, or that the script is looking for, and then we can do a dry run for testing in case there are any errors. Okay. Let's see what else we have. Notes. This processes files in the current directory, and then it saves the images to, it keeps the base name, and it simply adds the inverted suffix to the name. It requires ImageMagick in order to run, and then of course we have our error handling right here on line 32, set, and then those are our flags, our E flag, U flag, and O flag, and then we have our pipe fail. Okay. Let's see what else we have here. We have our defaults right here, BG color, FG color. Notice also we have our variables. These are our global variables for this script. We have our out directory, mode, and then threshold. Okay. We then have fuzz set to 0. We have our extension list, and these are PNGs, JPEGs, TIFFs. We have dry run, and we have verbose. We then have a couple helper functions. We have a log function, and this is in case, let's see, we would print a message only if verbose mode is on. And then we have the die helper function, and this prints an error to std error, and then exits with a value of 1. We then, if the help flag has been set for the script, we then print this little message here that tells you how to use the script and what the various flags do. And then we get to our parsing our arguments. So these are those flags that were handed. It will check those flags and then set the value based on the position of the argument. So you see BG color would then be set with whatever the value is. FG color would be set with the value. Threshold would be set. Fuzz would be set. Extensions, out directory, dry run, quit, so on and so forth. Okay. We then need to detect ImageMagick. This tells us which version we're using. If we're using ImageMagick 7, then it uses Magic. If we're using 6, then we use Convert. Else, we die with the message ImageMagick not found, install and retry. We then collect all the files in the current directory that we're in. Notice we're looking for the extensions list, so if a file is not in that extension list, it simply will be ignored. So if it's a PNG, JPEG, TIFF, it's going to add it to a list of files here. So this is our line 101 is our file list, and then for the extension, in the extensions list, we then run a loop. It's a do files plus equal, so it's a concatenation. It adds it to the list of files. Okay, and then we reset. So we have lines 100 and 103 are changing our they're changing our uppercase and lowercase. Okay. And then finally, 104, if there were no files with the extension that could have the script run on it, then it simply sends a message, die, no images found. Okay. Now, Going forward, we then prepare on line 106, 107, we're preparing the output, and we make a directory with the -p out directory. The -p means that if it already exists, then we are going to ignore, we're not going to overwrite the directory. We'll simply use the directory name that's there. We then have our log. We invert scores, so these are things that are then sent to the screen. We have our mode, our background color, foreground color, out directory, and extensions. And then we have our process files, 4 files in the file list, right, that we created earlier. Then the base is going to be equal to a portion of the file name, and then the extension is the remainder of the name, and then the out directory we then attach. So you see we're doing a little bit of file name management here. Base name, extension name, and then the out message. In this case, it's inverted. Okay? All right, and then we log processing file. We then send it to out. And then if dry run is equal to 1, then we echo what's going on, and we actually don't perform the process. So we're just doing a mimicry, if you will, or a check to see if everything is working correctly. Now, we have 2 options here. But depending on whether you chose threshold or you chose fuzz, you're going to get slightly different results, okay? Now, we have the image in file, we set the alpha to off, color space is equal to gray, threshold is going to be equal to the threshold value set at the beginning, that's our global variable. We then fill the background color, and the opaque is now white. We then fill foreground color, opaque black, and then we have out. Okay, so what's going on here? We turn off transparency. So in layman speak, we turn off transparency. We convert to grayscale. We binarize the set threshold, e.g. 50%. We recolor all white pixels to the background color and all black pixels to the foreground text color. We then save to the output file. Now, if we chose fuzz, it's going to be pretty much the same process. The only difference is that instead of hard binarizing, we use fuzz to include the near white and near black pixels in the recolor. And then finally, we log saying output, it's done. The output is saved to the output directory. And that is it. Okay, so now let's go ahead and save, Shift-ZZ to get out of the file. Let's go ahead and clear. Let's check, and I'm just going to do a simple run through. You can experiment and see how the other settings work, whether you want to use fuzz or you want to change the files. Those are just there in case I want to expand the script further, okay? Here we go. So I'm going to go ahead and check to make sure that my file is executable. Change mod +X, invert scores. Now it is an executable script. I'm going to clear, and I'm going to run with /invert scores. It tells me that my mode is threshold, it's not fuzz. My background is that hex code, foreground is the second hex code, and then my out is inverted image, okay? And that means the extension, if you will, or the output directory. And that's it. So output saved in inverted image. So ls, notice it now created the directory inverted image. I'm going to clear the page. I'm going to enter the directory with cd, inverted image, clear, okay? And now we have these various files that we can inspect to see if the color was actually changed. So for that, I'm going to use xdg-open, and I'm just going to grab 0. I'm going to grab the very first one, 0, 1. I notice I'm using tab completion with my with tab, so once I get enough, I just press tab and it fills it out as far as it can. And this is the result, if you will, okay? So notice that Sabbath prayer, it was black and white before. Now the image itself has been changed to this nice blue-black color with this beige text. So it mimics, if you will, either an inverted image or a Blackboard version. I can then show you the remainder. So as we're going through, there we go, 23, and we're simply looking at all the different files. and it rolls back around. All right, so let me go ahead and close this down. In conclusion, as you see, let's go ahead and clear. In conclusion, we used Gimp, the image processor, to crop the portions of the PDF that we wanted. We then exported those portions into a list that we could then use a script to which required ImageMagick to then convert the image into monochrome, essentially either black or white, and then it took what was the white pixel, converted it to a black image, or actually any custom hex code that we wanted. It converts the white to that hex code, which is background BG, and it converts the black or the text to the foreground color FG. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.